A top 15 matchup in College Station, and this one chippy before the opening kickoff. Both teams entering on 6-game win streaks. Just over 5 minutes left in the second quarter. Look at that scene. The 12th man, LSU up 10-7. Garrett Nussmeier throws to Aaron Anderson, who avoids a tackle, takes it 76 yards to the house. Longest LSU touchdown this season. LSU leads 17-7, and they've won 104 straight games, people, when leading by 10 or more points at halftime. It's impressive, right? Mid-third. Nussmeier rolls out to his left, trying to make something happen. Oh, don't force it. He forces it. B.J. Mays with the interception.
And yak.
Hella yak, people.
No question.
27 yards the other way. And this is when the game changed, B-Mac.
Yes, sir. Exactly. The momentum.
The momentum, and also Mike Elko, benching Connor Wegman for Marcel Reed, and that was a great decision.
Better believe it.
Because look at him use his legs, the read option. Texas A&M down 17-14, instant impact, ensuing LSU drive. LSU holder Peyton Todd isn't ready for the snap, goes off his helmet. They recover the fumble, but the Tigers, what's going on here, B-Mac?
Collapse. Total collapse.
He was not, there was no urgency on his face. So then, ensuing Aggies possession, how about Reed, the QB draw, stuffed initially, but the Aggies lineman pushed Reed into the end zone. Reed scoring on each of his first 2 possessions. Next LSU possession, 2nd and 10 from their own 25. Nussmeier. You know, I'm beginning to believe that he has some sort of relationship with B.J. Hayes, because that is another pick for him, his 2nd of the game. LSU turns it over on 3 straight possessions, and then Reed. What are you going to do, man? Marcel Reed was the king on this night. Texas A&M leads 28-17. Their first 3 drives, first drive, Reed an 8-yard TD. Second drive, 8-yard TD. Third drive, 4-yard.
He can throw it also.
Look at that. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Dual threat ability. That was a great ball to Noah Thomas for 50 yards. And then, later in the drive, Le'Veon Moss runs it in for the TD. Texas A&M leads 35-23. And Brian Kelly, disbelief. 6.5 left. Maybe we got to come back. Nussmeier tries to throw a screen, but intercepted once again. Torian York. This time, the Aggies pull off the comeback and win 38-23. They start 5-0 in conference play for the first time since 1998, when they were in the Big 12. So Marcel Reed, 3 rushing TDs, most by a Texas A&M QB since 2016, when Trevor Knight had 3 versus Tennessee. And look at them. Texas A&M is cooking with gas. And this LSU Texas A&M postgame recap is built by the Home Depot, how doers get more done. And the Aggies are 5-0 in the SEC for the first time ever. And we are joined by the one and only 2-time Super Bowl champ, Bryant McFadden, Mike Elko, with one of the greatest calls of his season, B-Mac, making that switch from Connor Wegman to Marcel Reed. What changed for you in your eyes, man?
Well, with Marcel Reed in the lineup, he adds another element to their offense, which is being a +1 in the running game, either by QB design, running plays, or just improvising. And at that moment, Coach Elko realized with Connor in the game, they couldn't generate any positive yards, couldn't find a spark, couldn't get anything going. And their offense at that time, Chris, they were a bit stagnant. But then eventually, when he made that change, along with the turnovers that were created by the defense, we saw their offense take off to a whole nother level. And don't forget Marcel, when he jumped into the lineup when Connor was injured, he really jump-started their momentum in winning ball games and having more consistency on the offensive side. Connor returned back to the lineup, and he just waited for the opportunity. The opportunity presented itself tonight in a huge, huge opportunity that he cashed in. When you talk about the 3 rushing touchdowns, you're talking about buying time, making people miss, and of course that long throw that he was accurate on that kind of kept things going in their direction when it came to putting points on the scoreboard. This was a huge, huge decision for Coach Elko, and Marcel came in, didn't ask any questions, came in and delivered the goods.
And that's why they pay Mike Elko the big bucks, because you have to make decisions like that to change the game. And so look at Texas A&M in the first half. 7 points, they were down 10, they had no takeaways. Then in the second half, 31 points. 31 points. LSU only scored 6, plus 25-point differential. Of course, it is a bad loss, B-Mac. There's no other way to put it. Time now, though, for the Home Depot Doers Playbook, I should say, built by Home Depot. How doers get more done. And B-Mac,
yes, sir.
There were so many schematic things here in the second half that led to Texas A&M winning this game. What was most important to you about the way they changed how they operated in the second?
Well, when Marcel Reed came into the lineup, we saw the offense open up. They allowed him to really pick his poison in terms of what he wanted to do, and he was reading nicely. You see what I did there? Marcel Reed reading nicely. Yep. I mean, he just was playing backyard football. It's almost like being in 5th grade. Remember recess? When you had recess back in the day, you just play yard football and run around. That's what he was doing. But he was going through his progressions, and he knew exactly when to keep the football, when to hand it off, and of course he was making sure he hit the open pass catcher as well. He only had 2 attempts, but he was 2 for 2 for 70 yards.
That's 100%.
Super efficient. So when you talk about doing the most, Marcel Reed did the most in a moment where they needed every inch of positivity that he could give them, answered the call, and now they're currently sitting atop of the mountain in the SEC.
So quickly, before we go here, he's no doubt QB #1 the rest of the way,
I'm going to tell you this much, Chris. When Connor was healthy, cleared to go, I felt like Marcel should have stayed in the lineup. But Coach Elko wanted to go back to his veteran guy who started the season, who earned the right to be the quarterback. But now when you look at what they did, making that change, and needed to make that change, because if they don't make that change, I don't think Texas A&M win this ball game. Now moving forward, what do? I could see a scenario for either side. Connor returns to the lineup to be QB1, or Marcel Reed is now the new QB1 for the Texas A&M Aggies. Either way, I think they're going to be successful, but just seeing what he did in a half of play against an LSU team that was playing real good football on either side, I mean, this is something to think about, but right now they're going to enjoy the victory and start thinking about these big-time problems Sunday, Monday.
It's a great problem to have, and they are the #1 team in the SEC. I don't think anybody expected that at this point of the season. Bryant McFadden, we always appreciate the time, brother.